4, 3, 2, 1.
Roll the dice and ride the wave. Quest and dragons, the news we crave. Under neon lights we take a stand. Knights and wizards across the land. Monsters lurking in the night. Heroes ready for the fight. Dice are clattering on the wood. Storylines misunderstood. Get the latest buzz from afar. Tabletops bursting like a star. No rules, just might and magic dust. In these worlds we place our trust.
Good morning and welcome. How are you today? It is Monday. It is about 8 o'clock in the morning here at Site B. It's the 30th day of June in the year of our Lord Steve the Cat 2025. July 4th weekend begins tomorrow, so please be careful and party responsibility. It's summer, not where I live, but it's summer. And it's time to open up our chats, take out our tee-hee sextant, and take a look at all the tabletop role-playing game news stories that are going to affect us for the week that we're going to be mumbling and complaining and talking about because there's nothing more important going on in the real world. So yeah, not much going on since the last time we talked. There's a new version of the Warhammer Old World role-playing game coming out. This was the game that got announced last year, but then they started to do something else. Well, now we're finally getting it, which means more fantasy figures from Games Workshop. So cool. We've got some other bits and bobs of things. Wizards of the Coast announcing the first Dungeons and Dragons board game in a while, which we speculated about last Wednesday. Could this be the beginning of the downgrade of 5.5? Daggerheart announced they've got 2 more playtest characters running around, but since Daggerheart is already out, I guess this is them pretty much putting the cart before the horse and saying, hey, yes, we're definitely going to make another product because we're playtesting it. Gen Con wants you to know that people showed up. 19,000 in total were at Origins. Sorry, did I say Gen Con? I meant Origins. Dragon Delves is out, and they dedicated it to Chris Perkins, who is now working for Darrington. You remember Dragon Delves. It's the one we've talked about ad infinitum because it's the first time we've ever described the dragons or given them, personalities or biomes or anything. Never before in the 50 years of the hobby have we talked about dragons, as long as you don't count the 24 previous products we've made in the past 50 years where we talk about dragons. This is the first time. Yes. And then we had Woods Kids announcing another way too expensive figure coming out for a blue dragon. Yeah. So, and Yazbiz Bed and Breakfast was the winner of the award for RPG core product. Best product was a comfy bed and breakfast adventure for 5e. A hop, skip, and a jump from a year ago when we were, best RPG products were things from Free League and Arcane Library and stuff that were actually RPG products. But no, this year we've cycled back to I want my D&D to be safe and cozy. I don't want to go on adventures. I want to hang out in a bed and breakfast and, solve a Murder, She Wrote type mystery as well, drinking tea. But all that news pales in comparison to Wonderfilled Games. You doing that thing you do. Remember Wonderfilled Games? If you don't, here's their website. Oh, wait, it's down. Oh, wait, so is their Twitter. In fact, anything regarding these guys has vanished from the internet. I guess they decided to dive headfirst into the, oh my God, what was I thinking end of the pool, also known as trash fire. So yeah, this is probably going to be the number one story for a while now, that we just had another company jump on this grenade, Ash and Elm or whatever they were called. It doesn't really matter because no one's going to remember them in 48 hours. This guy I can't find the original link to the video. If anybody has it, please let me know. So I'm going to go and give my good buddy Diversity and Dragons some free press because he's got a copy of the video on his choice. This is the guy who is the founder, CEO, last living member of Wonderfilled. He made a scantily clad video a couple days ago explaining why the game did so bad and explaining why he said the things he said in his posts. So he made some posts about Wonderfilled and how white people are responsible for it, the failure of it, and the white Nazi regime of the Trumpists, and white people need to die. He can't wait till the white people's seed is purged from the earth. He also went on to make claims like he saved TSR and was responsible TSR. And yeah, it's just, I talked about this briefly with Double D and some other people on my opinion of this video and of what he's doing and how it's very similar to what Goodman Games is doing. And if you're not a pro wrestling fan like me, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, you might have a casual acknowledgement, but in pro wrestling, we have what's known as heat or cheap pops. Heat is how well the audience responds to you, and cheap pops is, things you do to get a quick, fast response from the audience. Usually it's when a bad guy comes out and makes fun of the towns that they're in sports team. That is the most common type of cheap heat you can get. It's guaranteed to outrage them really quick, but it's not like that good long-term heat like, Ric Flair or MJF or Roddy Piper could get. But yeah. So this guy is, and I think what Goodman Games is doing also, is what we would call in pro wrestling cheap heat. They're basically shotgunning as many negative things as they can to hang on to the virtue signaling Christmas tree that has been so popular for the last couple of years of these self-destructive game companies, because no matter what, in their mind, they win. See, because if you are a fan of this idiocy, you agree with them and you want to support them and you give them attention. And if you're not a fan of this idiocy, like Diversity and Dragons and myself are not, and just remind you that I am a liberal Democrat who is openly LGBTQ, talks about my disability all the time, and I don't agree with the stuff that's coming out of this guy's mouth. And I'm on the opposite end of the political spectrum from Diversity and Dragons. So, but yeah. So yeah, bunch of cheap heat. Same thing the Goodman Games is doing. Bunch of just everything he says is designed. I mean, it's pretty much a script to get heat. If you agree with him and what he says, he wins because people are defending him. If you don't agree with what he says and you make videos about it, he wins because people are talking about him and he can play the victim card. Oh, look at the video the oggm made about me. Obviously, he's another white Trumpist who needs to die. Oh, look at the video Diversity and Dragons made about me. I'm a victim. Obviously, he's not another white Trumpist who deserves to die. And this guy goes full on crazy. I'm just going to, and he opens up with a blatant lie. So yeah, I'm going to just show you the first couple seconds because obviously, if you want to watch the whole video, you should go over to Double D's channel or Tanker's channel or anybody else. I would have posted a link to it, but I can't find it. So I'm going to post a link to Double D instead.
TSR, it's true. I had a license from the owners, right?
No, you didn't. No, you did not. You did not have the license for the TSR right there. It went to Justin Lanassa, and Justin Lanassa held the rights to it up until, what was it, last year when he lost the rights? So yeah, no, you had nothing to do with TSR other than Giantlands.
Ernie offered it to me, as did the owners at the
No, Ernie was not the owner, so he couldn't have offered it to you.
time. And I rebooted it, and it sort of became this kind of magnet for white nationalists, Trumpsies.
TSR became a magnet for white nationalists and Trumpsies. Justin Lanassa, Ernie Gygax, are those, no. The reason why your game failed has nothing to do with white nationalist Trumpsies. or white liberals like myself. The failure of your game had to do simply with you saying stupid things like this.
The new Fourth Reich Nazis, Trump supporters.
Yes. Thank you, Double D. Then the guy goes on with his continued nonsense. And you would hope the nonsense would be ending and people would be realizing that this doesn't work. And again, let me remind you that a Democrat who lives in California, who is open about their sexuality and about my disability and about my religion and all the other things, you would think that I would be somebody who agrees with what these idiots are saying. Oh yeah, the anti-Semitism and the racism and the sexism, it's all the Trumpisms, the white Nazis. But I don't, because your job, and I can't believe I'm just saying this again, but then we just had another company do the same thing. If you're a fascist, don't buy my game. I don't want your money. I want to die of starvation. And stop saying things like, oh, we want white people to die. You do realize that 90% of your buying population are white people. Right? Just take a look at the crowds from Origins and Gen Con. I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens of white men and white women. And God, I sound racist, don't I? But it's true. The majority of people who play tabletop role-playing games are white. In America, maybe in Asia, they're Asian. Maybe in South America, they're South American. Maybe over in Europe, they're European. But here in the United States, 90% of the population of people who play role-playing are white men and white women. I'm sorry, but that's just a fact. There are POC, right? And every color of the rainbow plays D&D, but the majority has always been white. I don't know why. Maybe because it's the only thing we're good at, because Lord knows we're not good at sports. Ow, there you go, some cheap heat. So, yeah, so he went for cheap heat. He went for the I hate white people, even though I'm a white person. White people are responsible for everything that's wrong with my company, everything that's wrong with my game, everything that's wrong with my life. White people need to die. I look for a future where there's no white people. Our game is all about a future where there's no white people. Blah, 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 blah. Poor me, poor me, poor me, poor me. This is why my game's not selling. Not because the game sucks, or not because you've adapted this antagonistic persona for the past several years where you are actively trying to push away your audience. No, your game sucked because apparently, if you don't buy the game, you're a white Trumpist, not neo-Nazi, baby-eating jerk. Remind you again that 50% of the population who buys your games are people like me, liberals. No. Okay, so again, we talked about this, and we're going to talk about this again, and I have a feeling it's going to be the topic we're talking about for a very long time to come. And it's very simple. And I can't believe so many people are not following it, because it's business 101. All right? Business 101. Don't tell people you don't want their money. Because there is somebody out there who does want their money and will fight, claw, scratch, and whatever else they need to do to get their money. If Wonderfilled Games doesn't want your money, I do. I want your money. My product is better and cheaper and doesn't force virtue signaling down your throat. Okay? Don't piss off your fan base. Your job is not to tell me how much you hate white people. Your job is to tell me why your game is better than every other game that does the exact same thing. Because Giantlands is just Arduin. Giantlands is just Warp World. Giantlands is just Rifts. Giantlands is just Torg. Giantlands is just every other game that's tried to be Thunder the Barbaria, Hyperborea. Every other game that's copied the Arduin Grimoire since 1980s of that, all Giantlands is post-apocalyptic future with mutants and magic. Thunder the Barbarian. It's been done. It's been done before dozens of times. There are at least, I'm sure, 10 games that I can know of, and probably a couple others that I don't know of that have all tried to do the same thing, that have all tried to recapture Arduin, that have all tried to recapture that Thundar the Barbarian feel. So Giantlands, you were in this audience, but you were in the pool with all the other games doing the exact same thing. Why is your game better? Why should I spend $50 I don't have on your game, or as opposed to that game, or just use the one I already have? Because chances are I probably already have a game that does that, or a game close enough that I could easily, kit bash it into being Thunder the Barbarian. I could easily kit bash SHADOWDARK into Thunder the Barbarian. I could easily kit bash Dragonbane into Thunder the Barbarian, and it would be no trouble at all to kit bash 5e or Daggerheart into Thunder the Barbarian. So there are dozens of other Thunder the Barbarian games out there, Giantlands, and there have been since the 80s, since Arduin. Tell me why your game's better. Tell me why I should spend my hard-earned money on your game as opposed to all the other games. Do not tell me lies, and do not tell me you don't want my money, and especially don't tell me you want people to die. I want white people to die. I can't wait for a world without white people. You all deserve to die. Well, that only makes you a bad businessman. That makes you revolting. So yeah, I don't feel bad for Wonderfilled. I don't feel sorry for Wonderfilled. I don't think if they continue this thought pattern that they're following, they're going to do much better than they've done, which is pretty awful. I mean, who even remembered them until 2 weeks ago when this started? No one. And who will remember them 48 hours after I finish this video? No one. Because all Wonderfilled Steven's going to be remembered for is his lies and the fact that he wants white people to die and that he doesn't want your money. He does not want your money. Why is my game failing? Because you're actively telling people not to buy your game. And you're doing this because you think, cheap heat, it will get you attention. Well, you see, the reason why I do this is the people who agree with me will support me and defend me, and they'll buy my game. And the people who don't agree with me and make videos about it, like the oggm, well, I can play the victim card. And I can say, look, here's the oggm picking on me. He's a white guy. This proves my point. I mean, I'm just spent 16 minutes giving this idiot free press. Technically, he wins. And I know even, he's, on the off chance that he sees my video and responds to my video, he's going to say, oh, he's picking on me. He's not a real leftist. I'm a victim. Look at me. It's because of people like him that the game failed. And he wins. He temporarily wins because he's getting the attention he wants. And that's all that he's doing, is trying to get attention. That's all that Goodman Games is doing, is trying to get attention. It's all that anybody who's playing this white people don't buy my game card wants. They want that cheap heat. They want that heel making fun of the hometown team heat. They want you to be outraged because then you're paying attention to them, right? I mean, again, the guy wins because I just spent 20 minutes talking about him. Do not get, when the second somebody says, I don't want your money, fine. You don't want my money. You know who does want your money? The oggm. Give me your money because these guys don't want it.